Welcome everybody, my name is Sal, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the train wreck that currently is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now before we could even get started, if you guys could do me one favor and hit the subscribe button as well as leave a like, as it would be very much appreciated. But anyways, back to the main topic of the video. The Cleveland Cavaliers are a complete and total mess right now, and the franchise seems to have absolutely no sense of direction in the post-LeBron era. The Cavs currently sit at 14-40, which happens to be the worst record in the Eastern Conference currently, as well as the second worst record in the entire NBA. But their lack of success doesn't seem to be the only issue, as it feels as if the organization can't help but stay out of headlines. It literally feels like there's a new story every single week that's being reported about the team, whether it be Kevin Love publicly expressing his desire to be traded and throwing his on-court tantrums and outbursts, or through the whole fiasco with the John Beilein situation, where you can basically say that players kind of forced this man out of his head coaching role. That is after the whole situation with him calling his player thugs accidentally. You make that what you want it, but that just didn't rub well off on the players. It even got to a situation where the Cavs purposely played songs such as Tupac's Thug's Mansion or Bone Thugs, Thuggish Ruggish Bone, which placed a heavy emphasis on the word thugs or thug when John Beilein was around. The entire stint with John Beilein was a complete failure from start to finish, as players were just never a fan, although the team had seemed to be playing competitive for around the first 10 to 15 games of the season. They actually were pretty entertaining and just a fun young team to watch. But eventually the coaching style of John Beilein had caught up with the team, and you can just see the team's frustrations, players' frustrations, especially Kevin Love, and you can just see that the players really didn't enjoy the style of play, as it seemed as if they were being treated like college students, and they just didn't enjoy the culture that Beilein was attempting to create. Beilein's departure kind of just emphasizes the lack of stability within the franchise, as they are now going on their fourth head coach in less than a year and a half, or about a year and a half, which is just absolutely absurd. The whole idea of trying to create a winning culture is through stability, and if you have no stability, then how do you expect players to develop and adjust to a system if that system is basically changing every 4 to 5 months? But anyways, the point of this video isn't for me to just sit here and bash the Cavs for 5 to 10 minutes, but rather provide some sense of direction in which I think the franchise should go, and just talk about their future, and of course any roster adjustments that would be made through free agency, the draft, or of course trades. But I plan to really focus on the draft, especially since Cleveland isn't the most attractive market to big names. So really the goal is to just acquire as many young players and picks as possible, and just hope that eventually one of those players or picks becomes a star, or maybe in the near future you could flip those picks or players into a star that will surely be available, as it seems that a star wants to be traded or leave their team almost every single year. But I don't want to get too far ahead. I kind of want to just stay in the now and really focus on the 2020 Cavs first round pick, which is pretty much guaranteed to be a top 4 pick. So although a high pick doesn't mean you are guaranteed a star, it does give you better odds to land that franchise player that those teams in the lottery so desperately need. And for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think it begins with approaching former Memphis center James Wiseman or current Georgia guard Anthony Edwards, as I believe these players will truly give us the best chance to begin building a strong culture and team identity, which will ultimately help further the organization's success. Now, some of you might even question the idea or pursuit of a guard, considering we used our last 2 lottery picks on point guards, so the idea of drafting Anthony Edwards wouldn't really be ideal. But I think passing up on Edwards would be a huge mistake, as he is widely viewed as the best player in this year's draft class. Edwards currently averages 18.9 points, 5.3 rebounds, 2.9 assists, while shooting 41% from the field in just under 32 minutes a game. And unlike Garland and Sexton, the 6'5", 225-pound guard possesses a very dominant frame, and with the NBA headed closer and closer toward the era of small ball, the idea of drafting Edwards and playing him at the 3 isn't too bad of an idea, as his ability to create his own shot and extend his range deep beyond the arc fits right in with today's game. Now, as for James Wiseman, some may also look at that selection and kind of question it, considering the Cavs just made a trade for center Andre Drummond at the trade deadline. But assuming Edwards is already selected, I think passing up on Memphis center James Wiseman would also be a huge mistake. And although our front court seems to be very established already with the likes of Drummond, Kevin Love, Larry Nance, and Tristan, the one thing it does lack is youth and potential. And you could pretty much argue that the current players that we have within our system are pretty much already developed. And Andre Drummond, who happens to be the youngest of those players, is slated for this year's free agency. And although he has implied that he plans to stay with us, there's obviously no guarantee of that, so it's better to be safe than sorry. And either way, I believe Wiseman has more potential and really provides the youth that we need, as well as the modern NBA big man skill set, which we currently lack. And Wiseman displayed that ability in the 3 games he posted at Memphis, putting up 19.7 points, 10.7 rebounds, and 3 blocks. In those 3 games, he displayed his ability to dominate the glass, as well as the post, along with his defensive potential and his ability to stretch the floor. And the idea of adding Wiseman to a young core of Kevin Porter, Darius Garland, and Colin Sexton would just be too good to pass up on. Either way, the Cavs acquire young talent, and like I said earlier, the more picks the Cavs acquire, as well as young talent the Cavs acquire, give us a better chance to eventually have a successful roster, assuming that one of those picks or players becomes a star. All in all, this season's pretty much over. It's been over since the first 15 games, if we're being honest. And it's really just time to start focusing on the future. And whether we decide to keep JB Bickerstaff as our head coach, or even if we decide to pursue a new head coach in this year's offseason, it's very important that we surround our players with the right coaching, as well as the right system in which they can properly develop and hopefully flourish. And finally begin building the winning culture that our city so desperately needs, as the Browns are still the Browns and the Indians are the definition of mediocrity. So hopefully the Cavs can take us away from the dreadful experience that is being a Cleveland sports fan, and really just give us some type of hope and something to look forward to rather than being disappointed all season. Now, obviously, I don't expect the Cavs to win a NBA championship anytime soon, but hopefully being able to build a promising young core kind of gives the city some hope that the city so desperately craves right now. But anyways, before I conclude the video, I just want to make sure you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button as well as subscribe, as I plan to upload very similar content in the near future, whether it be about different NBA teams or just the NBA in general. But if you guys could also leave a comment letting me know what you personally think about the Cleveland Cavaliers and really the whole entire situation, whether it be the drama that's really followed them all season long, from Kevin Love to the whole coaching stint with John Beilein, and of course the trade for Andre Drummond. Just let me know down below what direction you think the organization should take. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good day. I will catch you guys later.